Washington, D.C., January 1820.
Why, James, have you heard the news?
Why, yes, I am James Monroe, the 5th President of the United States who served from 1817 to 1825. What's the news, my good friend and fellow founding father, Thomas Jefferson?
James, are you all right?
No, I'm afraid I just received some terrible news from one of my aides.
How terrible.
Well, I just learned that the young lad is an Irish.
Why are you talking about me like I'm not still here?
Great Maker, I can understand your distress.
Hey!
But I'm afraid the news I bring you is sure to weigh even heavier on your, already weighty heart.
Well, I suppose that it is the responsibility that I, a white, land-owning, aristocratic, slave-owning, highly decorated war profiteer, must bear as the democratically elected leader of a free nation. Lay it on me, Tom.
It is with a heavy heart, though not nearly as heavy as yours.
Yes, we get the idea.
That I must inform you that word has reached me from England that King George III has perished, mortally.
Frick yeah! King's feckin' dead!
Oh, Donald! What the hell do you think you're doing? Show some respect, you uncouth swine boy!
Can't you see this is a solemn occasion? The world has just lost a valuable leader and a friend to all nations.
What? George III, friend to... Didn't you fight 2 whole-ass wars against that gun? I thought you hated him.
Oh, don't be silly, young lad. We don't hate him. We just hated his oppressive taxes.
Taxation is theft, after all.
It's only theft if you refuse to invest it back into the public welfare of the population, rather than spending it on an inflated and unwieldy military that never sees any use. And wait, speaking of, what about when he invaded and burned down the White House?
Oh, that. What's a little capital sacking between friends, yes?
When was that?
1812, I believe.
We won that one, right?
Of course we did. America doesn't lose wars.
Christ bones, what's with you two? What, everyone's an Enlightenment thinker until the king dies? Is that it then? What about the revolution? You know, talking about liberty from tyranny and how the divine right of kings is nothing compared to the united comradeship of all peoples. How can you turn your back on what you fought for to mourn for everything you claim to oppose?
It's quite simple, lad. We freed ourselves from underneath the boot of English oppression, and now we get to be the boot this time around.
It's one of our God-given rights, even if it's the same God we vow to keep separate from the state.
Besides, what do you know about English oppression, O'Donnell?
Take a wild feckin' guess. My forefathers didn't fight and die for you to just allies yourself with the crown like that, you sons of bitches!
My word. Tom, this whole time, I could have just shot him.
Of course you can. He's an Irish.
Ah, good. Well, back to business, I wager. Oh, I suppose I'll have to let the rest of the White House staff hear the news.
About O'Donnell?
No, by the king, of course.
Yes, of course. Well, I suppose I should get back to Monticello. I've still plenty of teenage slaves to violently molest before the day is done.
Indeed. And I need to finish solidifying a foreign policy doctrine that will lead to centuries of colonialist oppression, misery, death, and epidemic of American-backed fascist regimes in Central and South America that we will never be held accountable for.
Our day will come, you bourgeois guts!
Oh, shut up, O'Donnell. And put the kettle on, would you? I have a hankering for some tea so severe, I could drink a harbor of the stuff. All right, welcome to the last minute. I'm Dustin Wong, and now the fake news. President Joe Biden officially announced that the pandemic is over. This news was received with celebration by some and with disdain by the antisocial. just when you thought you may never have to interact with a real person ever again. The announcement was made after scientists discovered an antibody that can take out all COVID variants, and that antibody is named Joe Biden! Have we all noticed that Joey B's been on kind of a killing spree lately? He's on a man on a mission. He came here to wear aviators and kick ass. And he's all out of aviators. Pandemic? Boom. Gas prices? Boom. College debt? Boom. Kinda. Actually, almost boom. Because, I mean, it's only for people who make under 127,000, 120,000, which does include me, because it's 10,000, which I'll appreciate. I mean, it could be better, and everybody could get, but baby steps, I guess. Anyway, all the forms and whatever. But Joey B's got no time for forms, because he's out here dealing with continued oppression from the Republican Party, and is starting to get really frustrating. People like Marjorie Taylor Greene went on Twitter and compared Biden to Adolf Hitler, because it's okay when it's Biden we're comparing to Hitler, which caused outrage amongst the Israeli community. But in her defense, I've never seen Biden and Hitler in the same place. Have you? Speaking of semi-fascists, Donald Trump went on TV and said he had the ability to declassify documents with his mind. The former president also claims to know what number you're thinking of, as long as it's between 1 and 3. Connecticut has become one of the first states to mandate the education of climate change in classrooms. Fitting, as we here in Connecticut see the climate change every 5 minutes. Anybody outside of the Nutmeg State might find that joke just slightly amusing, but trust me, here in Connecticut, that joke kills. Am I right, Ricky?
Oh, hell yeah!
Yeah, baby! Oh, the ice caps are melting! Anyway, the state of California will offer low-cost housing for teachers on school property. Oh, wait. Don't teachers already live at school? So, do they not? I remember when I was a kid, and it was always weird when you would see your teacher outside of school, like at the store in their street clothes, and you're like, huh, I guess they drink milk too. We're not so different. Ohio saw a surge of women registering to vote after restricting abortion access. As per Newton's third law, for every action there is an equal and opposite reaction, which is to say, there are some things greater than the laws of men. Of course, Florida was in the news again after Governor Ron DeSantis had 50 migrants flown from San Antonio, Texas to Martha's Vineyard without shelter or resources already in place. The migrants are now suing DeSantis in a class action suit, which should come as no surprise since he mailed them to an island filled with lawyers. And finally, the U.S. Food and Drug Association issued an official warning inspired by a recent TikTok trend. Do not cook your chicken in NyQuil. But how else does one prevent bird flu? Anyway, that's it for now. We'll have more from the last minute.
I interrupt this irregularly scheduled program to bring whoever's listening some breaking news. Or at least breaking at the time of this recording. The studio has just received a document listing the other surprising items found within former President Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate. According to the leak, FBI agents took in the following: an unregistered cell phone, a Merriam-Webster's English to Russian dictionary, a bottle of 3-in-1 Head & Shoulders for men, an unopened shake weight, a pair of Hulk hands, several copies of Chinese takeout menus, my tax forms, 2 dinner plates, total, ketchup packets, lots and lots of ketchup packets, a thong, a pool table with water ring stains, toilet paper put into the holder the wrong way, you know what I mean, and a decadent bookshelf of well-organized, well-worn 80s porno magazines. I'll bring you more on this story as it develops unless I forget or find something better to do. This has been Diane Kelps reporting for The Last Minute. Dustin, back to you.
Well, That never happened before. But in other news, as summer fades away, things are beginning to cool down, except for in Death Valley, where it reached 127 degrees, the hottest September day in history. And I think they almost called it Alive Valley. Alive Valley? A new study found that boys and men experience more social isolation than girls and women, which is just yet another thing men do better than women. And if you agree with that, then this study was about you. Beyond Meat COO Doug Ramsey was arrested for allegedly biting a man's nose after a college football game. After avoiding animal meat for so long, he developed a craving for the most dangerous animal of all, man. On the Joe Rogan podcast, Mark Zuckerberg said social media is for building relationships, not just consuming content. Yet, Facebook is like the monopoly of social media. Not only does it own a majority of social platforms, but also it destroys most friendships. You hear that, Ricky? Monopoly destroys friendships.
Dude, come on!
You bled me dry with your 4 hotels on Park Place and then made me pay the rest of my debt with my own money!
That's how you play the game, Dustin. I'm playing the game. You lost. Get over it.
What about the time you actually made me eat the marbles and hungry hipos?
Yeah, you know what?
Who's a hungry hippo, Ricky?
You.
Who's a hungry hippo?
Yeah, it's you. It was you then. And that was funny, and you know it.
On the same podcast, Zuckerberg went on to say that waking up every day as CEO of Meta is like getting punched in the stomach. But don't worry, that stomach bug has since been patched in a recent software update. In the world of entertainment, actor Brendan Fraser received a 6-minute standing ovation at the Venice Film Festival after a screening of his upcoming film, The Whale. But let's be honest, 5 of those minutes were overdue for his role as George in the blockbuster hit George of the Jungle. And on a quick side note, I always read about these standing ovations, and let me start by saying I think Brendan deserves all the recognition he's getting, and I'm all for a Fraser renaissance. But 6 minutes is a long fucking time. I'm sorry, after 2 minutes of clapping, my hands start to hurt. So beyond that, I have to imagine there's just a sense of social pressure to continue. Ana de Armas got a 14-minute standing ovation at the same festival for her film Blonde. 14 goddamn minutes. Do you realize how long that is? That means I could watch a whole episode of SpongeBob and still have time to clap. People, I think it's okay to clap for a little bit, then sit down. No, I think once you start clapping, the recognition is earned. It's kind of like fireworks. Once we start, after like a few, we get it. It's just more of the same. In a new documentary, Bling Ring member Nick Norgo says Paris Hilton had the best Coke. And I'll take things we already knew for $200, Alex. Yeah, I said Alex. I'm not going anywhere near this whole Jeopardy host drama bullshit. Although I do think it should be LeVar Burton. Amazon has yet to announce a second season of their Prime series, The Terminal List, but star Chris Pratt said, "To the Rabbit fans out there, you have nothing to worry about." That's right. Absolutely nothing to worry about, since the show has 0 fans worrying about it. However, fans of Maroon 5 have gone nuts after alleged sex from lead singer Adam Levine were leaked online, such as, "I may need to see the booty." As if he also may not? Like he hasn't decided yet? Or watching your ass jiggle on that table will permanently scar me. I'll be the first to admit I don't have the best track record when it comes to talking to women, but am I wrong? I'm pretty sure that's an insult. No one has ever said they'll be permanently scarred and it be a positive thing. And if the leaks are true, then the truth and the harshest truth to accept is that maybe Adam Levine does not have moves like Jagger. And that he's avidly cheating on his wife. Kanye West has said he's never read a book because reading is like eating Brussels sprouts. Good for you? And one last thing, a pilot from Southwest Airlines threatened to turn the plane around after a passenger dropped his nudes to the other passengers on board. Haha, yeah. Now this is a story all about how my flight almost got itself turned around. Dropped one little nude and the pilot got scared, and that's how I became the Prince of Dick and Balls. Air. On that note, we'll be right back after a message from our sponsors.
This episode of The Last Minute was brought to you by taking a nap in the evening. Worth it until you wake up at midnight. Also by LED headlights. Hope your improved visibility is worth burning my eyes. And finally, the 21st of September. Did you remember?
And that's the way it is, folks. But remember, a bad workman always blames his tools, but maybe you shouldn't use a hammer to cut wood in half? Have a great day and a better tomorrow. The Last Minute with Dustin Wong, a 20-something studios production. Hosted by me, Dustin Wong. Featuring Liam Foley, Ricky Hamilton, and Ryan Phelps. Written by Dustin Wong, Liam Foley, and Ricky Hamilton. Cover art by Joey Bashan. And a special thanks to Axum Creative. Rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts. And contact us at thelastminute.dw@gmail.com.